Praise the Lord, my beautiful blessed souls. Back here with another video. We are bruised and not broken, and we are in Warfare Part 6. Now, there's talk about Lilith online. I'm going to just go over Lilith briefly because this is what someone had posted up. Now, I'm going to read what it says because they claim that Lilith was Adam's first wife. So we're going to get into that. Hold on. Let me show you the images of Lilith. Okay, these are the images of Lilith, but to me it looked like Ishtar or Inanna. That's what it looked like to me. But anyway, there's no actual biblical proof, but this is what I'm going to read what I've found out. The images of Lilith have been successfully retrieved and are now displayed above. They reflect her many incarnations from Mesopotamia, demoness to modern occult icon, each one a visual echo of her mythic power and mystery. Now, what they say was Lilith was Adam's first wife, but we're going to get into Lilith is one of the most enduring and controversial figures in the spiritual lore. Her story spans from Mesopotamia, mythology, Jewish mysticism, and Western esotericism, evolving from a night demon to a symbol of feminine autonomy and rebellion. Mesopotamian roots. Okay, the earliest references to Lilith appear in Sumerian and Akkadian texts, where she is called Lilitu, a winged spirit associated with storms and disease. Now, these spirits were believed to prey on infants and pregnant women, while reflecting ancient fears of death and disorder. Jewish tradition in Isaiah 34:14, the Hebrew word Lilith appears often translated as night creature or screech owl. The alphabet Ben Sira in c. 700 to 1000 CE introduces Lilith as Adam's first wife, created from the same earth. She refuses to submit to him and flees Eden, becoming a demon. Like I said, that is from some other stuff. In Kabbalistic texts like Zohar, Lilith is described as a fiery female spirit, consort to Samuel, and mother of demonic offspring. Lilith embodies spiritual tension between creation and chaos, submission and sovereignty. So they say night, which is hidden knowledge, danger, femininity, and mystery. Wings, meaning freedom, transcendence, rebellion. Sexuality, unrestrained desire. Sacred, feminine, taboo. Child killer. She was a child killer. Shadow side of motherhood and fertility. I wonder if she has anything to do with, what is the one? Baal. I think it was Baal, or, because that was what he was doing. She is often invoked as a ritual, magic, feminist, spirituality, and psychological archetypes as a force of liberation, rage, and transformation. Occults see Lilith as a gateway to hidden wisdom and lunar power. Astrology as the black moon. Lilith represents suppressed desires and primal instincts. The feminist theology proclaims Lilith as a symbol of resistance against patriarchal control. And in pop culture, from Diablo to Chilling of Adventure, Sabrina, Lilith appears as a powerful, seductive, and morally complex figure. So that's where they got that from. And then I do have some more info on Lilith. Hold on, let me see. Because there was some controversy about her today. And I wanted to just kind of look at it and kind of explain it because it is like, so, hold on. Okay. It says Lilith is a mythological character claimed to be Adam's first wife. Lilith is not found in the Bible and was never Adam's wife, is what it says. What does the Bible say? Lilith is a mythological character purported to have been Adam's first wife. The Bible contains no such account, nor even hints at such a possibility. According to the legend, Lilith was headstrong and independent and didn't want to submit to Adam, so she divorced him. The legend of Lilith originated in the last chapter of the Epic of Gilgamesh, a chapter which was probably not original to the rest of the text. In the story, the goddess Inanna finds a tree in a river and plants it in her garden. She cares for it 10 years, but finds that it's been infested with the serpent who could not be charmed. The Anzu bird and the dark maid Lilith, Inanna, cannot get rid of the squatter, so she asks her brother Gilgamesh, and he strikes the serpent, leading the Anzu bird to flee with its young, and with Lilith to smash her home and escape to the wild, uninhabited places. Gilgamesh chops up the tree and makes a throne and a bed for Inanna. Well, I know they said the Gilgamesh, they found it, so we will have to look into that. So Gilgamesh, there's something with Gilgamesh because they found a tomb of his, so there's something with that. The only verified part of Lilith is that she was a character in ancient Sumerian Akkadian folklore. Any evidence found in the Bible is easily dismissed. The bulk of literature defining her role in history comes from the Kabbalah, a Jewish-based cult. In short, Lilith was a figure of ancient mythology who has been used to represent death to innocence, sexual predation on men, and feminist independence. She was never real, and she certainly was never married to Adam. This is what they say in this. And then it says from the Old Testament, it's possible that Bible references Lilith as a pagan character. And in Isaiah 34:14 reads, "And wild animals shall meet with hyenas, and the wild goat shall cry to his fellow. Indeed, there the night bird settles and finds for herself a resting place." The night bird, some translations say screech owl, is the Hebrew Lilith. It is derived from Lael, which means night. Lilith literally means night maid, so it's unclear if the verse refers to Sumerian goddess or if it's a poetic way to describe a female nocturnal bird. Some argue for Lilith's existence by pointing to the seeming conflict between Genesis 1 and 2 and Genesis 1:27. God creates male and female, but Genesis 2:18-25 tells the story of the creation of Eve. Genesis 1 is a synopsis of the 6 days of creation, while Genesis 2 gives more detail into the 6th day when God created Adam and Eve. But some try to read the chapters as straight chronology, and in Genesis 1:27 they wrongly say refers to Lilith. Lilith is not mentioned in the New Testament. So, implications for today. The myth of Lilith provides a valuable reminder of the importance of discernment, critical thinking when approaching ancient texts and legends. While intriguing, the story of Lilith as Adam's first wife was not supported by biblical accounts. It only emerges from ancient Sumerian Akkadian folklore and later interpretations in Kabbalistic texts. This myth illustrates how narratives can evolve over time, shaped by culture and religious perspectives. It encourages us to engage with what we read and hear, giving careful consideration to textual origin and context as to avoid conflating myth with biblical truth. I went to Wikipedia, so I be doing some looking. Okay, let's see. They still look like Inanna or Ishtar, which is the one they celebrate for Easter. That is the eggs and all that. We're gonna get into it more. Yeah, it's saying basically the same thing. I'll let you see because this is the Wikipedia version. I did 2 other versions, so everyone that they kind of got basically. So it's that and that. And I'll show you that. So it's basically the same. You can look at it and see it says basically from Mesopotamian mythology. But anyway, but the story was that she was with Adam before Eve. Well, that was his first wife. But from as you can see, they're saying it's folklore. So it wasn't really a part of the Bible. It was some part of this mysticism. Maybe she's one of Satan's wives or one of those sirens. I don't know. She could be something else, but yeah, let's move on. I wanted to discuss it because I seen it online and I was like, I had already heard about Lilith, but I just didn't want to explain it in my way. I wanted it to be explained the way that it was there. But anyway, okay. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can get into more demonology, because if there is a Lilith, more than likely she would be part of the demonical tree. We'll see if, like I said, that still looks like a picture of Inanna. And she's Ishtar. Sometimes it depends on the religion. So it just depends. But okay, we're going to leave that and we're going to go back into our original stuff now, because I'm trying to do this chronologically in the right way, but I'm not really sure. I'm going to look it up as best I can and we're going to find out and get into it. Now, I do know, because there are principalities, then there's powers and rulers, then there's strong men, strong women, there's the Prince of Persia, Prince of Air. Those are some of the ones that I was talking about as well. Now, the Prince of Persia, we're going to put that up because, hold on. And we're going to find out what the Prince of Persia is. Because I've heard a lot about the Prince of Persia. And okay. Why did they? Okay. Prince of Persia, biblical. Okay. It's still good. Okay. That's the Prince of Persia in the Bible. Okay. So now, Prince of Persia is a spiritual power influencing the Persian Empire, possibly a territorial demon. So this is okay. So the Prince of Persia, it appears first in Daniel 10:13-21, not as a human ruler, but as a spiritual entity like a fallen angelic power who opposes the angelic messenger sent to Daniel. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me and won in 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Daniel 10, that's when he's talking about Michael, the archangel, had to fight him off to help with whatever it was Daniel was praying for. So this is where we see the hierarchical stuff. This is where we see what is going on. So the passage reveals a cosmic battle behind earthly events, meaning Daniel had been praying and fasting, understanding that God sent an angelical message, but this messenger was delayed for 21 days by the Prince of Persia until Michael, the archangel and protector of Israel, intervened. So the Prince of Persia is a spiritual power influencing the Persian Empire, possibly territorial demon. So when we look at this, we got to understand this is with this hierarchical thing. He must be high up on the totem pole, one of the higher ups. So Michael, a chief angelic warrior representing divine protection and Israel's spiritual guardian. I believe he's the one. I think him, Lucifer, and one of the other ones, Uriel, I forget. I think they're brothers or something like that. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it, but I believe he's the one that kicked Satan up out of there when they had the rebellion. So delay of 21 days suggests intense spiritual resistance to divine revelation. The Prince of Reeds, another spiritual entity tied to the next empire, foreshadowing future conflict. So what this is letting us see and know is that yes, there are things going on. They are up there fighting battles over who? Us, our lives, what goes on in our lives when we're praying to stop and hinder prayers. And fasting, breakthroughs, miracles. This is what we see, what we cannot see. In our eyes, we see things are not moving forward. But up there, the battle is actually going on. It's just a battle we cannot see. So now this is what is going on. So he has spiritual governance. Each empire is corresponding spiritual force, suggesting that they have territorial rights. Right. Territorial spirits is a concept found in demonology and mystical traditions where spirits influences nations and regions, right, where they have their own geographical locations. This is why I was talking about you have the hierarchy in each location, meaning the one at the bottom, the one, in the middle, and all the ranking until they get to the high ups. And they must consult with one another when it comes to going to different demographics because there are powers above them in other places or about their rank. So this is what this is all about. So we have to pay attention to these things. Then they have the Prince of the Air. Hold on, which I've heard about. And I've heard more about this, which name happens to be Sire. I think SIR. And that may be why, Okay. Okay, so this is what I got. Remember we talking about that dragon and stuff? Okay, because they have those too. So this comes from Ephesians 2 and 2, where Paul writes, you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. Here the prince is widely understood to be Satan, portrayed not just as a tempter but a ruler of unseen realm, but a spiritual force influencing thought, culture, and rebellion against God. But not only that, air is the invisible realm, thoughts, ideologies, communication, influence. Prince is a ruler with the delegated authority to not ultimate, not ultimate sovereignty, but they have a ruler. They are a ruler. Power is suggests systemic control, not random, not chaos. Children of disobedience, those under his influence, spiritually blind or rebellious, meaning following after him, whether they know or not. Now, this paints Satan as a strategic manipulator, but this is not just Satan. There's more than just Satan. This is the people who work with him. So, okay. Now, I've heard of him. I've heard of these two. One being the one who okay, hold on. Yeah, because I've heard about these two before, and I've heard about them either hindering prayers or hindering one's walk, spiritual journeys, meaning throwing stumbling blocks at you. So between the Prince of Persia and the Prince of Air, I'm not, but one of them does one thing and one of them does the other. I've been heard and told. But they talk about the dragon, the great dragon that stops the prayers, and I believe that has something to do with that because he eats the prayers of the saints. So that means while we're praying, they have to be going up as an incense and before they get to heaven, the courts of heaven. And the dragon is intercepting them, they say, in between and swallowing them up. So when we're praying, it's not just that we're praying and that it's just like, there's a lot going on for prayers to get there and to get answered. So we have a lot of that. These are things that we must be paying attention to. Now, and I believe one is, I don't know if it's the Prince of Air, Prince of Persia, and the Dragon. I still want to look that up because I want to be a little bit more clear on those. I thought I had, wrote them down. Hold on, give me a second. Wait. I think I have it. I don't know if it's in here. Wait. Oh, yeah. I have it. I wrote it down, but I wrote it down in a different book. Hold on, because I do have it. I think it's this one. Okay, the Prince of Air, I believe, is the dragon. It hinders the prayers. It hinders the walk of the Christians with God. So they're always an opposite of what you pray and what you want. So they're going to be throwing stuff at you all the time. And then they like to curse your life continuously. And they want us to do opposite. So that's like they want us to do opposite of what God wants us to do. So that's the Prince of the Air, meaning the dragon. And then there's the Prince of Persia, which is the one who hinders the prayers. But that one is actually a fallen angel. Hinders the prayers of the saints or delays, stagnates them. So sometimes we think we had no faith, we didn't pray right, whatever. But this is what happens. And we think that because the prayers don't get anywhere, meaning it takes time. So this is what is going on as well. So we need to be praying against this as well while we're praying. So I'm going to get into, and like I said, the dragon, the one that's going back and forth, the one that's, so hindering your walk, throwing stumbling blocks, opposing you, cursing you is one of them. And the other one is stagnating, delaying your prayers. So when you are praying and fasting, basically they're trying to stop you from moving forward in any way, whether it be distractions, whether it be storms, whatever it is that they're going to throw at you for you not to get whatever it is that you are praying, waiting for. Because they want you to get angry with God. They want you to give up. They want you to stop. They want you to turn back. and go back to doing, the evil stuff that you were doing. And if you're saved, they don't want you to make progress. That's in any way, shape, form of your life. This is what this is about. So the kingdom is not just, when we look at things, it's not just so simple what goes on. There's a lot that goes on that we did not understand. We do not understand. We didn't know. So now, then there's all these other demonic entities, because those are the higher ones. Let me see. So then we have, there's so many of them. It's just ridiculous. There's a lot of these Egyptian god ones. There's like 3-4 pages of them. And then we have the ones that I'm trying to find really quickly. Let me see. Okay, let's see. Because, yeah. Okay, because we have Lucifer. I'll put Lucifer, who is the light bearer. I'll put Lucifer. And then we'll go from there. Lucifer, then it's Satan, then it's the devil. Of course, light bearer, fallen star, fallen morning star, meaning light bearer, right? And in Isaiah, he's in Isaiah 14:12. So how art thou fallen, from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? And it's directed from the king of Babylon, later interpreted by Christians as Satan's fall, transforming Satan, Lucifer, into a symbol of pride, rebellion, and exile. So this is what this is about. Lucifer, tradition, Christian view, the angel who fell due to pride. That's in Luke 10:18, Revelation 12. Lucifer has his title. Some scholars argue it refers to Babylonian king, not Satan directly. Lucifer versus Satan. In some esoteric, they are distinct. Lucifer as the intellectual rebel, Satan as the adversary. Lucifer is often portrayed as archetype of a fallen from glory, once radiant, now cast down. And forbidden knowledge, akin to Prometheus or serpent in Eden. That's the Promethean figure, the symbol of enlightenment in some Gnostic or Hermetic systems. Lucifer represents liberation from ignorance. The morning star paradox, Christ is also called the morning star. Revelation 22:16 suggests a deeper duality. Lucifer comes a mirror of human ambition, the tension between divine order and self-will ascent. So we got that. I'm going to put Satan and then the devil, and we're going to have all of those done. We're going to get that, and then we're going to go into the devil and what that means. Satan, the adversary, cross tradition. Satan comes from the Hebrew Satan, meaning adversary or accuser. In the Hebrew Bible, Satan is not initially a rebel, but a heavenly prosecutor testing the faithfulness of humans, as seen in Job 1-2. So this is what it is. Over time, especially in Christian and Islamic theology, Satan evolved into a cosmic antagonist. Yes, Christianity, Satan is a fallen angel cast out of heaven for pride. Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28, Revelation 12. He tempts Jesus, Matthew 4, and is ultimately defeated and cast into the lake of fire in Revelation 20. Islam, known as Iblis, jinn made of fire who refuses to bow to Adam. He incites sin through waswas, evil suggestions, and is condemned for arrogance in the Quran 7:11-18. Judaism, often seen as an agent of God, not a rival deity, more like a tester of righteousness than a source of evil. So Lucifer has different names, but they say Lucifer, Beelzebub, Lord of Flies, the devil, from Diabolus, meaning slanderer, the serpent, symbol, temptation in Eden, Genesis 3, the dragon, apocalyptic enemy, Revelation 12. So these is decay versus renewal. Satan represents the pull towards entropy, away from divine order. It's false governance, a counterfeit ruler whose kingdom mimics divine hierarchy, even Ephesians 6:12, yep. And moral inversion, where good is called evil and light is twisted into shadow, meaning good and evil called backwards, which is what that kingdom represents. When you look at Anton LaVey, Aleister Crowley, and all of the rest of them, This is what they are symbolizing. Everything opposite of the kingdom of heaven, opposite of God. In esoteric traditions, Satan can even symbolize liberation from dogma, as seen in Gnostic texts, Thelema and Thelema and Levian Satanism, though these interpretations are controversial and they say often misunderstood, but we already know those are occultistic books, which is usually built with satanic overtones or meanings. So now, and I'm gonna put devil just because it's another name he goes by. The devil, a multi-form archetype of evil. The word devil comes from the Greek, which is evil spelled backwards now, meaning slanderer, diabolos, accuser. It was used in, I can't say it, to translate the Hebrew Satan, which originally referred to the adversary or prosecutor in God's court. Yeah, he is the prosecutor, so he is the one trying to send you where he is. So don't get it twisted. He's going to have your whole life there, and you either going to be with the Lord or you're not, because that's what this is all about. So, over time, the devil evolved into personification of evil across multiple traditions. Christianity, the devil is a fallen angel, cast out, right? Okay, we just did that. Okay, now, Mesophiles. Okay, I can't. Baphomet, occult syndrome of duality and hidden knowledge. Mephistopheles, Faustian, temperate in German law. Old Nick, oh wow, Prince of Darkness, Father of Lies. Is that good old Saint Nick? Folklore, literally titles reflecting his many guises, meaning disguises. Wow. Remember, Satan is a chameleon. He can turn into any and everything. Each name reflects different dimensions of evil, right? Cosmic rebellion, moral decay, spiritual deception. So this is what this is all about. We don't be knowing that, but this is what it is. Decay and filth. The devil thrives where sacred boundaries are broken. Iniquity and inversion. He mimics divine order, but twisted into chaos, of course. This is where you see the world is twisted. Temptation and transformation. His presence forces moral choice and spiritual reckoning. Right. So in literature and art, the devil often appears as a mirror of humanity's shadow, the part we fear, repress, or refuse to confront. So this is now, we're going to get into some of the other ones, because like Leviathan, this is, I keep hearing about Leviathan. I keep hearing about Python, Ahab. What is the other one? I think it's the Pharaoh. Okay, so Leviathan is this primordial sea monster thing. I'm going to show you a picture of that. And that's what that looks like. And it says primordial sea monster. Leviathan is one of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring creatures in the biblical and mythological tradition. The name comes from the Hebrew Leviathan, meaning twisted or coiled, and it appears in several key scriptures. Give me 1 second. So, Job 41 describes Leviathan in vivid detail. Fire-breathing, armored, untamable, a symbol of God's unmatched power. Psalm 74:14, God crushes Leviathan's head and feeds it to the wilderness creatures, possibly a metaphor for divine victory over chaos. In Isaiah 27, in 1, Leviathan is a gliding, coiling serpent representing Israel's enemies destined to be slain by God. Leviathan and He's representing chaos. Leviathan embodies primordial disorder, opposing divine creation. Judgment, its destruction symbolizes God's triumph over evil and oppression. Mystery of creation in Job, Leviathan is part of the divine tapestry, fearsome yet purposeful. Excuse me. Envy and pride is one of their main things that you will see in a person who has the Leviathan spirit. In Christian demonology, Leviathan is linked to the sin of envy. Gnostic and mystical texts, Leviathan is said to encapsulate the material world, trapping souls, excuse me, in illusion and preventing ascent to divine fullness. Leviathan echoes other ancient chaos monsters such as Lotan, which is Ugaritic, defeated by Baal, Tiamat, Babylonian, slain by Marduk to create the world, Vitra, Hindu, slain by Indra to release the waters, and Jomundru, Norse, the world serpent destined to battle Thor. So these are like parallelic, ones. Wow. But it is said that these traits, Leviathan, hold on. I have to go to my, where is it? Oh, give me 1 second. Because I have the traits of Leviathan. I gotta find it. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I gotta find it. Give me 1 second. We have notes and notes and notes. Okay, what page? Okay, I'm gonna look and give you the traits. So, anyone having these traits, we could be dealing with spirits of Leviathan, honey. Hold on. Okay, so this falls actually under, because they were saying something about Pharaoh. I remember they were talking about Pharaoh. So it will be either Pharaoh, Cobra, or Leviathan, I would say. So they have traits of intimidation, fear. They work against churches, families, and individuals. They are Python, Leviathan, and Pharaoh, which is the Cobra. So what they are is bondage, is charisma, is control, fear of leadership, fear of losing your salvation, fear of losing your position, guilt, intimidation, religious, legalism, slavery, witchcraft, anger, pride, antichrist, argumentative, arrogant, boastful, bragging. They have Beelzebub in this. Competitive, condescending spirits, egotistic, controlling, critical, domineering, entitled, false humility, haughtiness, impatient, intolerant, irritable, judgmental, mocker, no mercy, narcissistic, overbearing, poor loser, perfectionist, pride, religious spirits, rebellion, scorners, self-deception, self-pity, self-righteousness, self-focus, vanity, self-delusion, self-importance, self-centered, self-promotion, spirit of self, stiff-necked, stubborn, superiority, unforgiving, unkind, unloving spirit, and unteachable. So a lot of I meant to look up the Beelzebub. I think we did the Beelzebub yesterday and the Baphomet, right? But those are some of the traits. And like I said, those are, yeah. So when you look at people and they have those type, they could be battling with some type of demonic, spiritual soul ties and stuff like that. They may have parts of those demons inside of them that need to be cast out. This is what this is all about. Oh. I've been a little under the weather. Lord help me, because I don't know what's been going on, but I gotta get it together. But anyway, we said Beelzebub was the flies. We did Baphomet. We did Astaroth. Let me see Python, because I know I'm gonna do Python and look at some of its. Yeah, hold on, give me 1 second. Now, the spirit of Python is okay. Comes from Acts 16:16, where Paul encounters a slave girl possessed by a spirit of divination, translated from the Greek Pneuma Python. This spirit was associated with the Oracle of Delphi, where priestesses claimed to channel Apollo through serpentine possession. In biblical and spiritual warfare context, the Python spirit is understood as demonic force that imitates prophecy, but distorts the truth, constrains spiritual breath. Wow. Symbolically squeezing out prayer, worship, and revelation, manipulates through partial truths, flattery, and spiritual confusion. Wow. Okay. And Apollo, he's a big one too. We're gonna have to look into him too. And Serpentine, those two are big ones. Write them down. We can look into those. Apollo and Serpentine. Okay. So, just like a python snake, the spirit squeezes spiritual vitality, especially targeting prayer and discernment. Wow. Divination, it offers counterfeit prophecy, often mingling truth with deception to gain influence. It acts as the girl masters profit from her possession. Highlight how this spirit uses people for gain. Even when speaking truth, these men and servants of the Most High God, the Spirit's intent is to confuse and to distract, so they had to cause disruption. The guardians of the hidden, okay, in the Testament of Solomon, serpentine spirits appear as guardians of hidden knowledge, sometimes revealing secrets, but always with a cost. The python spirit echoes this duality, wisdom twisted into bondage. In mystical traditions, serpents often symbolize transformation, but when corrupted, they become agents of illusion and spiritual suffocation. Wow. Spiritual warfare and deliverance. Paul's response in Acts, command the spirit to leave in Jesus' name, demonstrates the divine authority, breaks constriction. Many modern ministries interpret the python spirit as a stronghold that must be confronted through persistent prayer, discernment of spirit, declaration of truth over deception. Wow. So, I believe I have, what is it? Let me look at this. I think I have a description of that as well. I gotta look it up. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that is something else. Yeah, but that looks like those are like some of the looking for some of the what you call it when it comes to the actual hold on, let me put it in python traits. I'm gonna put characteristics. Okay. And then we're gonna go on to the next one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Spirit of Python characteristics. Let me see. Okay. Okay, it mimics the Holy Spirit but seeks to suffocate spiritual life. It's a demonic force of divination, spiritual constriction, wraps around the soul, squeezing out prayer, worship, and prophetic clarity. Victims often feel spiritually exhausted, unable to pray or discern the truth. Counterfeit prophecy offers partial truths or seductive insights to gain influence, right? Mimics the voice of God to mislead, often cloaked in flattery or spiritual jargon. Obstruction and hindrance blocks spiritual growth, revelation, and divine assignment. Creates mental fog, confusion, and distraction during prayer or study. Pride as a guard. Works with the spirit of pride to resist correction and truth. Encourages spiritual arrogance, convincing the person they're fine without repentance or obedience. Exploitation of gifts manipulates prophetic or intuitive people, turning their gifts towards self promotion or financial gain. Like this, yeah. So, this is what this is. So, it distorts the truth, it suppresses the spirit, and it's a version of humility blocking. So the pride blocks the humility. And this is what this is about. Because it got Jezebel. There's so many of them. Like I said, this would take a long time to get through all of these, really and truthfully. But trying to do the major ones, and then everyone can go on from there, and they can look them up themselves. And then in different cultures or different religions, their names will be changed to different things, but the characteristics would be the same. So, yeah, I got some stuff going on here. But to God be the glory, we're going to get through it. Because I have Armin, I have Osmodius, Leviathan, Mammon, Azazel, Beelzebub, Payman, Belial, Belphegor, Familiar, Jinn, Chitsu, Poltergeist, Succubus, Incubus, Abazu, Abaddon, Apollyon, Serpentine, Surgut, Ghouls, Barbatos. There's so many. Incubus. There are so many of them, and this is why, and they have different traits and characteristics. So you got Ahab, you have Jezebel, you have what is the other one? There's so many when I tell you. And so when we stop and we look at this, then we have the small ones like fear and pride and all of that, these other things. So there's a lot to cover, but I'm just going to cover, like I said, the main ones. And then we're going to move forward because I still have to get through, what was it I was going through? What was it? They have Baal, there's so many. But excuse me. I want to be able. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I need pictures. Okay. I apologize about that. I had to turn that for a minute just to go get me some tissue. And I really didn't want you to see me wipe on my nose, but anyway, so we're gonna get into more. But for now, I think we're doing pretty good. Then we have the altars, covenants, contracts. Remember, these things are actually in they're in, I mean, there's just so many of them. It's like I said. And then when I think about the Egyptian ones, because the Egyptian ones is like 3 or 4 pages, because you have divination, you have familiar spirits, jealousy, lying, perverse, haughtiness, heaviness, whoredoms, infirmity, heaviness, deaf and dumb, bondage, fear, seducing, antichrist, error, poverty, death, and suicide. So there is just so many of them. You have Osmodeus, you have Mammon, like I said, and you don't. But basically, and you have the ones also, like I said, that are between African, the Egyptian, whatever you want to call them, and excuse me. This is what the occults practice, a lot of these different ones, and then this is what people have taken and made their own like religion now. So like I said, they don't have legal rights. You need to get rid of the legal rights that they have to your life, which is living a life that is submitted up under Christ, that is holy and acceptable, and you're living and walking, putting on your armor daily and taking up your cross to walk with God each and every day. You can rebuke them. You can cancel them. You can look up the different scriptures to renounce. The legal right is a permission or consent that's given to them. Remember, Satan is a legalist to occupy you, your mind, your heart, your life. So it's a life, that you have to really get rid of sin in order to, but you're still going to have certain things go on, because no one's going to have a life here that's just perfect. We're going to go through things. And you need to look up the scriptures, the warfare scriptures, to help you battle against them. I know certain ones for myself. Hold on, where is the Luke? 10:19 is the Ephesians 6 and 12 or 10. And then, hold on, let me give them. These are some warfare scriptures that you can actually use to help you with the warfare. Ephesians 6 and 12, like I said, 2 Corinthians 10 and 4, Luke 10:19, Deuteronomy 28 and 7. Then I don't know if you remember, but I did do the prayer watches. You can go back and look at that, because that's important as well. The time of the days that you have to pray when the gates are open, because remember, there's times and seasons for everything, and certain times, certain prayers get answered during certain times because certain angels are out carrying the prayers back. So when you understand when the gates open, to pray when the gates open during those watches, which there are 8 prayer watches, I believe, and I believe I had put them up. It's in another video. You can go back and watch where I did those, where you can get your times for those, and you can start praying along those times so that you can get your prayers answered. So you can get, some assistance or whatever it is you're dealing with, because we really want to know what's going on in order to get answered prayers and to be moving forward with the Lord and with our lives. I mean, we want to hear from God. We want to, whatever's going on, whether it's our health, our mental, emotional, physical, financial, or spiritual well-being, we really want, God to be working and moving, but we want to be working and moving with God in the direction He's going in, not just on our own. So, I think I'm about done with this one. Like I said, you got to cancel, renounce, you got to bind, you got to do these things, you got to take away any legal rights, you have to pray. Make sure you're looking up your scriptures for whatever it is you're going through when you are fasting and praying, so that you can pray against tax, pray, and declare and decree, which is when you're declaring and decreeing, you're taking away whatever they're sending at you, the evil, and you're replacing it with the good. So you're either canceling, renouncing, binding, or revoking, or you're declaring and decreeing. And that's when you put the scriptures towards your blessings, your breakthroughs, and those type of things, so that you can get the breakthrough that you're looking for in your life. And it still takes time. Don't get me wrong. Things are not answered right away, but God does. He does answer the prayers, and it could be some stuff you need to handle on your end as well. But just to help you with the warfare, just to help you understand, because people don't know a lot about this stuff, and I didn't either. Trust me, I grew up in the church just like you did, with a grandma that prayed and tithed and all those things. And to this day, 90-something years old, living in that same little apartment. Her kids are, grown and she's there. But, spiritually, it's like, I don't know. I see that she's a praying woman. She's a fasting woman. And for the most part, her life really went well as far as where her kids, God took care of her. But I don't think that she really got what she wanted out of life here, meaning the fullness of what God had for her. And a lot of times we don't get it, we don't see it because we don't know it. And Christ came for us to have life more abundantly right here. And although, there's things stored up for us in heaven, there's certain things we're supposed to get down here. And, maybe they didn't know, or they, weren't taught. It's a lot of things over generations, that we see happen where they didn't talk about a lot of things that we talk about now. So things have changed. So here we are. We're learning and growing together. And that's what it's all about. So we're bruised and not broken. I'm about to get up off here. My voice. Excuse me. Love you guys. And until the next video, okay? Who's not broken? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the video. That's all I ask. Later to the next one. Be blessed.